Welcome everyone to the July 11th OpenJ9 community call. As we do every week, please add your name and your company affiliation to the Google Drive doc, so we know who's attended the call. And then we'll kick off right away with any questions or any discussion items that have come up from the community. Given that currently we're all regular attendees, might make sense to use this time to start with any topics that might be of interest to end users or anything coming up that's particularly user-centric. Does anybody have any topics they want to discuss at this point? We do have lightning talks lined up for the next two of these. Mark will be giving a lightning talk on the JIT logs, and July 25th, Marius is going to talk about what Xtune Virtualized actually does. And been talking with Ashutosh and Dinakar about idle detection and getting a similar lightning talk on that topic. So we're making progress on getting more of these lightning talks included in these regular calls. Sue, the one action that still is here is whether you've had a chance to run analysis on the most popular topics.
The reports are run, but yeah, yet again, I haven't had the time to take a good look at them. I'll try and do that for next week.
Okay, thanks, Sue. All right, then I guess let's jump into the general business. In terms of the 0.9 release, right now we are waiting on the mid-July OpenJDK updates for JDK 8 and 10. Once we have those, we'll proceed with pushing through on the release. Are there any particular items that people are aware of that might be blocking that release or might be impeding that?
I was wondering if we should be waiting on issue 2344. We could refresh the branch with the latest content we have now, or we could wait.
So what is it that we'd actually be both need to pick up the latest 0.9 release code? So we were testing a RC1 branch or a tag, which found the JDK error that we've had to fix. So we'd need, actually the fix wasn't in OpenJ9, but would we be doing the, would we be getting a release candidate 2 type tag, or would we just be picking up head again and starting again, or what would we do?
We'd create a release candidate 2 tag, so we could do that now with the latest content, or we could wait for 2344, or we could wait for anything else that people decide to bring up. I do think we should refresh to the latest we have now, because that'll give us the Windows DDR support.
Yes, are there other changes being isolated while the release candidate tag was out there? Would we pick up any other incidental changes that have been gone in since then?
Yeah, I'm proposing we just pick up everything that's gone in since release candidate 1 and take the latest. The question is, when do we do that refresh?
Well, if you want to pick up the very latest, we may as well now wait until we've got the latest of JDK and code drop due next week.
So that assumes that nothing is going to be released for OpenJ9 that causes problems. So right now things look pretty good.
Okay.
But if things go downhill, then we might have further delays while we wait for those problems to be fixed.
Yeah, so you've got more visibility of the current state of the OpenJDK release than I do, so your call.
I'm trying to think of what else we have pending right now that might affect JDK 8 or JDK 10. And I'm not sure there's nothing I can think of right now that we want to be waiting for apart from maybe 2344. Anything else anyone on the call could think of or even can add to the minutes following this call?
I did take a look at some of the VM things, and I didn't spot anything either.
So I think we probably want to pick up once we've gotten blanking on the number now. 2344 merged. I believe we're targeting to have that merged before the end of the week. So I guess target a refresh immediately after that has been merged and built, I guess.
Yep, I guess we can wait, and if there are other problems, I suppose we could always go back and pick something that was good and then just include 2344 on top of it.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll record that we plan to branch or plan to refresh the branch once 2344 merged and built successfully. Good. All right, that puts us back the end of this week for the 0.9 out of the OpenJ9 side. Are there any issues in any of the extensions repos apart from the resource bundle one, which has now been fixed, that need to be addressed?
Not that no, I don't believe so.
Okay. All right, and then once we get that, Adopt can build it. That should be able to be built within a day or so, and then we'll need to run the JCKs, the automated runs.
Yeah, so the extensions repository will need to be brought up to date with the latest OpenJDK code level. Both myself and Andrew are out next week, so I'll have a word with Andrew about who can do that after, I think it's Tuesday that they put the code out. And then Stuart should be able to build it once he knows what the branch name is to build over at Adopt.
Okay, in terms of running JCK testing at Adopt, once we have that build, how long, I'm assuming the automated tests will kick off automatically. Is that a safe assumption?
No, I think the Automagic's going to be called Stuart.
Okay.
Yeah, they take a couple of days on the Windows boxes, certainly, which is the latest ones we've been struggling with. About 2/3 of that, I think, on the Linuxes. And then we've got the manuals.
All right, and the manuals
We
take
don't
how long?
start trying those until we've got a clean run on the automated.
Okay. Now, just a reminder that the JCKs don't block us from doing the release. Just
That's right. Yeah, it's just a tag once we got it up there. So yes, I'm not sure what the mechanics are for getting it actually on a release page. I think there's an XML file somewhere that says what's on it, but I'm not sure how things get in that file. But again, we should have the builds there ready that we can claim at that release, and then get the JCK testing through on them.
All right. right. Any other discussion on this topic? All right, then I will hand things over to Irina to take us through the query.
I'm sorry, I do have one more question actually, Dan, while we're on it. The for JDK 10, is there any point in us going through the motions, running all the JDK against it, given that we know we've still got a few issues to sort out? Are you on top of those? Is there much value to be had by doing it all? Again, I certainly push it to behind JDK 8 because we've got limited machine resources and we need to get it through on those platforms first, that release first.
The only thing I could see being beneficial there is making ACKs add adopt. We know that there are a couple of cases that will not pass on 10 yet, and that will make the 0.9 release.
Okay, so we'll focus first on 8, and then whatever spare cycles we got at the end of that, give it 10 a run and make sure there's nothing we don't already know about.
Okay. All right. So Irina, do you want to take us through the issue summary?
Sure. So we got, looking at the tables here, we got a slight increase in issues as before. Nothing, it's pretty much the trend that we've seen lately. And the closed issues is growing as well. And again, the trend is the same. It's about 8 to 10 weekly. Similarly for the PRs, we're stationary, well, 88, 86, I would argue it's stationary, and then we closed another 70 something the last 2 weeks, so it's about 30 closed per week. Another thing that was brought up is doing a cleanup, scrubbing, right? The scrubbing of the issues with follow up with each team. I have not done that yet. I was away for a couple of last week, so that's one to do that I have to follow on. So long story short, we are kind of where we've always been, and I need to work on this to do the cleanup. Any specific things?
Just that I've gone through some of the issues and tagged more of them with beginner or help wanted. I've also done a pass through and assigned a number of things to the 0.10 milestone. So once we get 0.9 out the door, the focus is going to be a lot on, at least the focus from my team will be a lot on the JDK 11 issues and anything in the 0.10 release.
Okay.
All right. There's no other questions in this area. We can move to machines. In terms of updates on the University of New Brunswick machine farm, I know we continue to be in discussions with them and have started identifying some hardware and are in the process of tracking it and the necessary switches and racks and whatever else we need to send there together so it will be ready to go. I don't have an ETA on when we expect that to be shipped or when we expect it to be up and running. So if anybody else has more recent info on that, that would be good. Otherwise, I will continue to follow up with Charlie about it. Are there any other machine configuration issues we've had recently or machine capacity issues? There were 2 new x86 Linux machines brought on board last week. I don't know that we've seen any large differences in build times.
Well, the Z Linux build started taking 7 hours, so
Yes.
we're no longer waiting on X Linux.
Do we have a theory on what's happened there?
Yeah, I think the investigation into why JDK 10 was slower than 8 gave us a big clue there. So the default XMX with Java 9 and above is 25% of your physical memory. And for whatever reason, it seems to be taking a long time to allocate the memory. So all the command line tests take a long time because every time you start a new JVM, it takes a while to get that JVM started.
Seven hours slow? Okay.
Well, that's the theory anyways. Keith was able to reproduce on a local machine. He just ran Java. He just ran Java, and we measured it took anywhere between 2.8 to 4 seconds. It seemed to vary between runs. And then if you specify an XMX explicitly of the same size it should be by default, it gets a bit faster. And then I guess if you specified a smaller XMX, it would probably be faster still. So I know there's investigation going on into why that allocation is really slow.
If there's an issue number that you can update the minutes with, that would be excellent. Any other machine-related or build-related concerns? All right, moving on to builds and platforms. The JRE packages, as of the last meeting, they weren't being produced or weren't being uploaded correctly. Is there an update on this? Shelley, do you know what the status of that is?
Sorry, can you say the question again?
The JRE packages.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's on me. I should have a pull request ready today or tomorrow for that. We won't need to we will not block the uploading of the JRE package based on the work that Sophia's doing to test it. But on that front, we've made the decision in which should work to use the Bootstrap JVM. The tools that come with it, the Java-C that comes with the boot JVM that's on the machines, in order to be able to compile the test material that we need to run tests on the JRE, since they're not available as part of the package. So I believe we're proceeding on that front. We won't be running a full suite of tests on the JRE packages, at least to start with, mainly for resource reasons, but also because we're already testing a same drop more fully. I think we can get away with a smaller set for now. Yeah, so JRE package upload, I guess it'll be a set of pull requests coming from me within the next day. The one gotcha here is I also have to work with John Oliver, who's doing a complete rework of all the build scripts at Adopt. So he's slowly moving his changes in, and that will affect, if I miss time a pull request, we'll have to coordinate. So I'll have to work closely with him. That's where it's at.
Thanks, Shelley.
Yeah.
So Shelley, will those then be appearing on the 90 builds page with a different kind of platform?
Yes.
String?
They'll be a separate object, just like X Linux large heap shows up with a different text. It'll be a separate thing that you would download from the Nightly's page. And right now, Stuart has added the JRE package only to the Java 8 OpenJ9 build. So that's the one that will start showing up when he's able to make those changes to the other versions, and when he does, then he can make an update. It'll be a simpler update for any subsequent versions to produce the. I'll have to make some updates on the website backend and the website and the API repos, plus the build repo. So I have 4 pull requests that need to happen.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Yep.
The large heap package is complete and is properly on the web page, so I will remove that from the minutes this week. The Win32 binaries.
Yeah, they're also complete and on the web page. That again is just for the one version.
Okay. So I will mark this as complete as well. Okay. In terms of Mac OS, I've gotten to the stage where the VM is attempting to load all the related shared libraries. So I've been running part of jvm.c for those familiar with the code, running into issues with RPath. So I've got some kind of problem in the paths that I've set up for the dynamically linked libraries. So I have some more changes still local that I need to push and continue to investigate that. The ZOS build, is there any update there?
Well, only that it's all still ongoing and the words you have there are still roughly true.
Okay. ARM and ARM32. I have no update in this area. I don't know if anybody else does this time. If there are people who are interested, we love the help to get these platforms up and running. I believe that James Kingdom has done a lot of work with ARM32 to make it buildable. Just be a matter of sort of finessing the end of that and getting it into our build pipelines. All right.
So don't forget that the ARM32 only works for Java 9 and not Java 8.
I'll make a note of that.
So do you mean Java 9 and later or just Java 9?
I don't know if the changes have been ported to other extensions repos. I suspect they have not.
Ah, I see. It's in there, not in the OpenJ9 code.
Some of the changes are in extensions, so those ones would need to be forward ported, although it shouldn't be hard.
Right.
Both forward and back.
Yeah, so somebody attempted to port them back and wasn't able to get it working.
Okay. All right. In terms of end user experience, are there any queries that we want to call out? I see that the automated build instructions with Ansible has been merged. Thank you to everybody involved in that. Has there been any update to the Wikipedia entry?
I have made a start on it. If you go look at the issue, there are some words there. It's not complete. But if anyone has any comments or suggestions, then please feed them back. I'll do what I can to get something that we can all review and decide whether it's appropriate as soon as I can.
Okay. I'd almost suggest, Sue, taking what you have and putting it on Wikipedia. Better to get something more up to date there as soon as we can.
Yeah, I'm also at the moment not that familiar with the way of working on Wikipedia, so I need to get myself a user account. And I believe there's some kind of best practice around modifying comments other people have made, so we need to kind of step around some of the words that are there at the moment, make sure we don't upset anyone by removing what's in place. But yeah, I'll take a look. The next item there about the website design review meeting. I know that Sean has been trying to set up something, and it's been a question of finding a suitable time. I suggested he ran it as an open meeting, and he was asking whether it was possible to do it on a Wednesday ahead of this call. Do you think we could either extend this meeting 1 week or use the same meeting call in to host that?
I think we can use the same meeting call-in to host, but currently with our free plans, we're limited to 45 or 50 minutes.
Ah, right, yes, good point.
40 minutes.
40 minutes.
So if we set something up for, what would be 9 o'clock your time next week to run for 40 minutes, and then that would give you 20 minutes ahead of this call. Would that work?
I'm on vacation next week, so
Okay.
provided that somebody else is able to run this, I don't have a problem with that.
I'm not sure who else has an interest in attending. Anyone on this call? It's the website design review feedback. They'd be talking about the personas that they think we have.
Okay, I'll be on vacation with Dan.
Yeah, you should say you'll be on vacation. I'll talk to Sean and see how he wants to play this, and then maybe carry that with everyone. Okay.
All right. That brings us back to the 0.9 release. Is there anything in the minutes down here that we need to discuss that hasn't been handled already?
I'm going to re-update the Eclipse plan for 09, change the due date, and add Windows back into the DDR list of.
Okay. Do we need a new IP log for this?
I don't know. I'll have to ask Wayne or try and find the old communication about that.
Okay. And the July release question here is we've already addressed this. We're down to our last 8 minutes at this point. Are there any other issues on this list or any other business that people want to bring up? And normally I would say thank you everybody and I'll see you next week, but I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks, so not quite 2 weeks. So I will not be attending the next one of these. So, Peter, are you able to run the next one?
Yes, I can do that.
All right, thank you. Then thank you everybody, and talk again in a few weeks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good vacation.